Shut up and sit down. I have a game-changer topic to discuss with you today. For the last 10 years, primarily, I've hired millennials for available positions within my businesses. Most people would be scared to death by that thought, but I've learned to embrace it for many reasons. Now, this message is not intended for millennials since they already know this stuff about themselves. It's the stuff they wish you and me, the baby boomer and beyond generation, knew about them. It's in no way intended to be disrespectful or critical of boomers. It's intended to shed light on a few misconceptions attributed to my friends, the millennials. Now, you've probably heard some of the rumors about millennials in the workplace. They've often demanded open plan seating, working from anywhere but the office, having their meals provided to, even having a laundry service available to them. Well, in a lot of those cases, they're not just rumors. That's really true. Now, not all millennials act this way. Some actually act worse. Dear employer, I sympathize. Unfortunately, all the sympathy in the world is not going to help you today. You will need to confront this dynamic because very soon this demographic will become your largest pool of talent for the jobs your company is offering. Now, I'm only one, but I might recommend accepting the following 3 thoughts related to the way you should envision millennials. Thought number 1. These young workers are more normal than you think. Now, let's face it, if you take any other position, you're going to struggle with employee turnover and dependability. They are people who deserve respect. Yeah, our generation not only gave respect to our elders, but now we're being asked to give respect to the next generation? Seems like maybe we never had a turn. Now, you can bemoan that fact all day, but it will not change the outcome. The only thing that will change the outcome is a change in attitude. You might as well accept that because you may find the picture of a millennial next to the words new normal in the dictionary. Thought number 2. These young workers are more emotional than you may think. Of course, it goes without saying that the millennial should grow up and show a little respect too, and he may if he's treated the way he truly deserves to be treated. All he or she wants is respect. Now, whether right or wrong, it's what millennials have been trained to expect. To be forced to handle the stress of rejection or criticism, most millennials have been trained to pack up and look for the next best opportunity. It's only business, right? By the way, boomer, where did they learn that phrase? Thought number 3. These young workers are more reflective than you think. Not much for filters. They say whatever they think, but usually only after a reflective moment. Now, it would be my advice that for the remainder of this study, we take an honest look and consider some tactics that might put us both on the same team. I submit that the best way a boomer can help a millennial become more of a team player is to, number 1, create an atmosphere of respect and dignity as you have for all the members of your team. Number 2, consider the emotions behind every reaction or action. And number 3, lead them to the buy-in moment into your business objectives through assimilation and vision rather than a force-feeding or downloading or an impression to accept or else. Now, that may sound like an unfair list, but I'd like to show you just how much your business could improve if these 3 elements are implemented in your workplace. In other words, here's what I can tell you about the millennials that make them so special. Number 1, they are inclusive. By that I mean they are remarkably accepting. That's not true by their nature, but by their training. Whether in school, their peers, or the media, for better or for worse, whether in reference to gender identity, race equality, or any other social tag, the millennial has no walls. Now, that's tough for you to accept because of your upbringing in many cases, but those are the non-negotiables of your life. Thinking of it like this might help you. These are not business issues. Identity, racial equality, social taglines, those are personal issues, not business issues. They're moral issues. So I'm going to assume that you've crawled out of that cave and caught up with the thinking that racism, sexual phobias, and moral judgments have no place in the workplace. Now, you might not be as inclusive as the millennial, but they are inclusive. Now, you can fight that or join it, but fighting that may put you out of business. They're inclusive. Number two, they're generous. They're less concerned about pay than one might expect. It isn't that they don't like money, it's just that they don't live for it. Now, it's a generalization, I know that, but it's pretty accurate. Unlike the 80s child, they are of the belief that money should be given to the less fortunate. They believe capitalism should be used for good. They are altruistic. They articulate these views all the time. Newsflash! Proportionately, they outgive the boomer in every area related to need, working in soup kitchens, animal rescues, homeless shelters, etc., except one area. Do you know what it is? It's ministry. They don't give much attention to formal centers of worship, even though these centers of worship perform many of the same functions as the list I just went through. They give to the stuff they really believe in. Now, that's a great characteristic, even if they don't give to the ones you might believe in. They're inclusive, they're generous, and thirdly, they're idealistic. They're enthusiastic in their effort to champion causes that no one else believes in because they really believe their causes can make a difference. And number four, they're decisive. And I mean that related to change. Most people are resistant to change. Millennials look for it. And that's why it's so easy for them to leave that dream job on a Thursday that they started the previous Tuesday. The older generation is going to return to a job day after day, year after year, decade after decade. Not the millennial. They have the courage and the means to leave a job for the next best opportunity, and not always the opportunity that pays more money. And that leaves a lot of us scratching our heads. I can see it through the camera. But with this decisive spirit comes that spirit of demand, and employers are not always willing to pay. Now, not always for more money, but a workplace that accommodates for more inclusion, working from home, free services that would make life away from work more acceptable. Are they right? Hey, people are hiring millennials and giving them what they want. If you don't, they may be more inclined to leave you and move on. Two short observations here. Number one, leaders must accommodate and assimilate these young workers into the workplace. You can't stomp your feet and declare, "Shut up, do the work I've told you to do." Come out of that dark place, leader. You can't lead like that. But millennials must shoulder and accept some of the responsibility here too. It can't be all about you. You'd be wise to get over, say, that addiction to the cell phone or social media because it's attributing to the struggle that you may be having to maintain meaningful relationships. And this is how successful businesses operate. We operate through meaningful relationships. This is give and take. Well, who should take the lead in this give and take relationship? Leaders. You. What can you do to help millennials and make them feel part of your team? Are there some actionable steps to help you use your leadership ability to involve rather than isolate these young people into your business? Listen, I respect the heck out of you. I would follow you if you led, but millennials may not always follow you if you dictate, demand, decree, and determine that they're less human because they come out with a different set of filters. On a personal note, when you sit down with a lot of millennials and actually talk with them, I find something very interesting happens. I find that many are actually conservative, religious, Republican, believe in the Second Amendment. Philosophically, many are more like a boomer than our preconceived idea about how they should think, how all millennials act and think. And I'm speaking out on this issue because I see my millennial friends being misrepresented and mistreated, as well as misunderstood in the workplace. The problem is when we use words like all millennials think this way, all boomers believe this, all leaders do that. I think I have a unique perspective on how to help fix this. What can we do? I want to give you several ideas. We'll just cover one in this lesson and the rest in the next. Number one, you can lead from a position of rationale over rules. For instance, it's just a guess, but I wouldn't think you want your employees on their cell phones in the conference room during meetings. Am I right about that? Now, you can make a rule that most people, not only millennials, will resent and post it in 18-inch lettering above the conference room doors, no cell phones allowed. You might not want someone recording your privileged meeting where you discuss proprietary issues. Just say that. Or you might want to get employees to focus on their work relationships, press more into human bonding. Why would you want that? Well, you might want to use these meetings as an opportunity to model what you want employees doing when they're out in the field meeting with prospects. You want them to improve the quality of the relationships they encounter. If that's true, just say that. You might prefer that all your employees write on paper as opposed to an electronic device. A great writer, Simon Sinek, says in his book, Leaders Eat Last. Quotes from the Psychological Science magazine, he records, and I quote, "Those who take notes on paper with pen are better at processing and retaining information. Those who use paper are forced to discern which information is more important. This learnable, practical skill significantly impacts critical thinking and decision making," end quote. Now, if that's how you feel, just say it. I believe this is critical to our thinking, not just for millennials, but for everyone. If you explain the logic behind the law you put into place, your chances of getting the buy-in are increased exponentially. So it'll no longer be a law, it will become a shared belief. Now, this is just a great example of how real leaders can promote an atmosphere of common sense and really help those who are driven to naturally question leadership. This type of leadership not only supports rationale, but promotes it in the workplace. Explain what you want and why you want it done the way you need it done, and I guarantee you'll get the all-important buy-in that you're looking for. Well, I have just a few more ideas for how we can help millennials in their quest for assimilation into your organization. So please come back in our next episode. We'll talk more.